Hey there, Bravehearts, Urbanites, and Coach Mad Hatters, and welcome to day two of our 90-day journey to heartfulness. We shall be concluding, but not done with. So we're concluding our moments in the eye of the magical mysteries of Neptune during our full moon in Pisces. Today being Sunday, September 15th. We will still be dealing with some residue over the next 7-day cycle. Keeping that in mind, I have a few things that I, of course, shall offer up as honorarium for this particular installment. And first off will be a addendum, if you will, to our serendipitous serenity prayer. Greetings, ancestors, gods, and goddesses of divine intervention. My fellow Bravehearts, Urbanites, and Coach Mad Hatters have joined us along this journey to heartfulness. Let's invite, unite, and activate clarity to provide them what they need to know for their highest good. I thank you kindly for my transparency and accuracy on my part. Please help me to sense your clues and cues as I speak to interpret this amazingly phenomenal bigger picture and connect it to their 6 degrees of closeness and divine timing. Thank you again, my love team. I forever appreciate you, my guides and majestic muses. A few days ago, I got a message from Light Watkins, and I love to say it that way because it makes it seem like he's the only one sending me messages. When the fact of the matter is, I'm on his distribution list, but still, the magic is in receiving the message. And it was entitled The Hidden Meaning. So, with that said, I have titled this installment, I Go to Seek a Great Perhaps. That's going to be the theme for this particular installment, especially if we are going to stand in our magician energy and take full advantage, good, bad, or indifferent, of the residue from our full moon in Pisces. Remembering that we are conspiring to be part of the magic, and the magic absolutely is full of mystery. For the last 24 months, I have been in such a whirlwind of unpredictability. And I know that it's getting me ready for when Saturn returns, seeing as that it's the ruler of my sun sign. I know all sorts of things are going to begin to blossom and unfold. Now, the nature of such things is what remains a mystery. But as I continue to self reflect and do my due diligence with reconciling certain things emotionally or intellectually, I have a clue. I have a clue. I have a clue. I can't imagine something like completely broadsiding me, but we're still living in a realm that is full, that is shrouded in mystery. with that said, I'm going to read the um, the message that came from Light Watkins. That is a quote from Deepak Chopra, and I know I've heard his name pronounced a couple of times, but still, when I see it in print, it just kind of throws me off a little bit. Okay, so Deepak says, whatever relationships you have attracted in your life at this moment are precisely the ones you need in your life at this moment. This is a hidden meaning behind all events, and this hidden meaning is serving your own evolution. In other words, we can't really go wrong, and being turned around and wishing for something different or working hard to change our circumstances is also part of our evolutionary path. If we choose to adopt this understanding, there is an opportunity to view every one of our current challenges as integral to our growth. And while we may never know the hidden meaning behind them, we can rest assured that on a deeper level, they are happening for us. And I put in parentheses instead of to us. Which brings me to a notion about young and being an unofficial Jungian, which is which is also an evolutionary movement. If you are within the psychology realms, you know that most folks either lean towards Freud or lean towards Jung. You're either a Freudian or Jungian. Because I live in my right brain hemisphere, not always living there. I think it's seasonal. I toggle between the two, but usually around this time, I am in my right brain retreat. So Jung speaks about those that have lost everything, which is equivalent to being drugged across the ocean floor, damn near drowned within seconds of one's life, and they conjure up their inner resources to save themselves, to remove themselves from, to rise up from the ocean floor and take themselves back to land. Having done so with a brand new awareness, pretty much a new being, equates to the phoenix rising. Thinking about that this morning made me think about The Little Mermaid, Disney's version, not the hostile mermaid singing to lure in ships to kill everybody, not that version. And I have to make things clear when I speak in the public domain outside of certain contexts because it leaves folks to their imagination. And remember, we are dispelling this thing called implied consent as one of the things that we will keep in mind as we journey toward heartfulness. Very seldom, not too often, do I think about anything without giving consideration to my sun sign, my moon sign, and my ascending sign. Here lately, I have been challenged with the complexity of having it served as a triangular lens, my divine trifecta, if you will. So when folks talk about me, myself, and I, it's amazing because we want to sometimes make it seem like Those that speak about themselves in the third person is kind of arrogant or conceited or be hopping and skipping inside of these narcissistic tendencies. When the fact of the matter is, if we really truly look through that lens, look through the lens of me, myself, and I, often on a rhythmic basis. So the me would be your sun sign, the myself would be your moon sign, and the I would be your ascending sign. Whatever whatever the ruling planet is that is adjacent to that triangular view, doing the research and development and doing the research and engaging in the development associated with the characteristics of those planetary archetypes. Finding yourself in the description. Urban folk usually do not like it when someone's, not even when someone, when inside of a sentence it says so and so fit the description. The whole profiling thing, that's always such a not so nice context to be hearing such sentiment. But if remember, we are turn keying perception. We are taking the power and switching some things up a little bit. So we will be speaking in the context of it will be good to fit the description. And yes, Saturn gets a bad rep. Bad rep. I am now a self appointed advocate for Saturn. Good, bad, or indifferent. Doesn't mean that Saturn somehow like treats me as like the teacher's pet. Hell no. Challenges be like smacking my ass. And I don't even know as of yet if I be like, meeting the bill. I promise you, I am such a work in progress. My intuition and my inner muses have to talk me into recording each and every time I record. It has to tell me why it's a good idea. But with all of that said, I've decided to create something that's called the Sea Goat Squad. Because it's not easy being associated with Saturn. It really isn't. Whether it's sun, moon, rising, Venus, it doesn't matter. It really does not matter where Saturn is placed in your chart. And more than likely, if you're a human, it's placed somewhere. To not have Saturn anywhere in your chart, that will be phenomenal to me. I will be quite interested to learn. Probably will want to observe such human that Saturn's nowhere in your chart. And so the Sea Goat Squad, because we are such goats, we're going to bring the bartering network back. We're going to bring sexy back to bartering. And for some Capricorns, it will be a dream come true. For some, they may wince because, yes, there are some Capricorns that truly are all about the coin. But I think somewhere down in the root of one's existence, products and services for other products and services also make sense because the goat can make use of anything. And I'm going to speak more and more about that as we continue on this journey. Um, as I mentioned, it just popped in this morning, so I haven't had a really good time yet contemplating it and trying to figure it out. But um, I think it would do folks some good, especially those that are just stepping over the threshold of a new career, or especially a freelance career, a career where you are building clients, where it's a client based business, and the level of clients determines your ratio of income. So the notion, real quick, just it was what caught my what piqued my interest was the exchange of how can I say this, tutorship, the exchange of education, the exchange of scholarship, mainly. So, like someone who has the knowledge can take on two, three, four apprentices with the exchange of the apprentice serving as whatever it is that the facilitator, and it flashed in. Like I said, I haven't had a chance to really truly unpack the notion yet, but somewhere along those lines, where those that can't necessarily afford to pay for quote unquote coaching, but could enter into like a work study situation. And yeah, and so the bartering network, it would be the crux of how this will work out. But like I said, I'll keep you posted on how this begins to unfold and unravel for me and make sense. As we get down to the whens, the wheres, and the whos. But I'm almost certain that the whos will be somehow in conjunction with the Coach Mad Hatters, um, as they continue to migrate into the communities and deal with their brave hearts and their urbanites. It's kind of how I'm vaguely seeing it at the moment. Those that are walking the road to redemption, to renewal, to restoration, to remedy. Coach and Braveheart and urbanite alike. I'm not really into the one person tell all, they know everything and everybody. Yeah, I'm not into that. I really would like to be a wholesome exchange of those that are either just a couple of ticks ahead, a couple of ticks behind, or right there side by side. With that said, I am bringing back to mind the thing called butterfly effect, as it is in accordance with the dynamo effect that the Coach Mad Hatter's University, oh, well, yeah, truly, like the Underland part of it is very much important. So the Coach Mad Hatter's Underland University and radio platforms have been utilizing as its primary focal point. So the Dynamo Edifice 1.0, all based in chaos theory. And so for traditional, for the sake of traditional definitions, or uh-huh. You might have to be patient with me today. It's one of those days where words may not be flowing as eloquently and as smoothly as usual. So, the butterfly effect is the sensitive dependence on initial conditions in which a small change in one state of a deterministic nonlinear system, which is the deterministic nonlinear system is something where its future cannot be predicted to any great degree or certainty, versus a deterministic system, which is like clockworks and routines, where their components of behavior can exactly be as expected. So we are talking in terms of deterministic non-linear systems where the future cannot be predicted, aka chaos theory. Butterfly effects are those small steps, those very patient, deliberate, yet seemingly small things that we do, which in turn can have very large results later on in our process. And when we're speaking in Coach Mad Hatter's terms, we talk about the golden chaos. We talk about golden chaos therapy, as well as as well as astro artisan alchemy. That process of transmuting our lead-based situations into golden enlightenment. All invisible interaction, all the stuff that happens on the inside, all the stuff that generates the decluttering and the clearing of our energy centers, also known as chakras. Chakras. And so while we're on this thing called a Shiro hero's journey or a fool's journey, a moon magic journey, a journey to heartfulness, a journey to mindfulness, there's a meridian. There's a very special place in between polar opposites where one can dwell and make very small steps, very direct and intuitive steps that could have monumental that can have a monumental impact as time goes on. I have this thing that I like to call tarot treasure troves. And the reason why I call them that is because it's not 100% tarot. And yeah, folks really truly get all spooked out when you talk about sitting in front of a light worker or a seasoned reader and having cards read with results of your unique divination, understanding what your future holds inside the realms of like having your palm read. And I know probably if some folks who I know who will probably tune in because they know the old me will probably get ready to click off now. Yeah, my heart probably start fluttering and everything. If in fact you continue on, like you do not have the urge to be spooked out about what it is that I'm saying, I would like to introduce you to my 7 tarot treasure trove teachers. They are they in their own right, okay? And it's interesting because I don't think anyone that I'm getting ready to pay homage to would really truly consider themselves teachers. I'm deeming them teachers if they have not deemed that for themselves. I sit in front of just about anything with pencil and paper, but I am enthusiastic. I look forward to hearing what it is that they have to say because they do not just read tarot cards. Seriously. I may have mentioned it before. I have watched plenty of them. And those who have hung with me through the comfy sofa conversation series and now into this journey know that I have a thing for the number 7, which we will get into in this installment. First and foremost, its association with Saturn and how it bleeds into Mercury. It infuses, or it has its magical portals into the communication sphere of Mercury. And so I followed myself from Saturn into Mercury, hosted by the number 7, like Sesame Street does. And the number for the day is 7. And so my 7 teachers, and let me say this. I would say let me disclose this, but no, it's me. It's my personal tidbit within my recommendation that even if you know nothing about tarot, but you know nothing about tarot, but you may have wittingly or unwittingly said something about, well, those were the cards that was dealt to me, or I guess it was just in the cards for me, or shucks now, yeah, the cards and dealt me a good one. Whatever the level of enthusiasm is, if you have ever said such sentiment, I think that you will find some true scholarship if you tap into either or all and allow them to teach you some things. They explain, they interpret, they are very tenderly transparent. Some are super funny, but all of them are dedicated and devoted. So, my number 1 is Unconditional Healing Tarot. And oh, let me say this, they're all on YouTube, of course. Unconditional Healing Tarot. And I would like to direct you to the latest video regarding the moon magic in Pisces. Number 2 is Divinely Feminine Tarot. And we are right now in the mix of uh, an incredible scholarship called The Fool's Journey, where we are unraveling all of um, all of the characteristics of tarot. And so it's a 22-week journey. And let's see, we started it on the week of August the 11th. So we are in We are just walking into week 6. And so 22 weeks, the last week is actually the week of my birthday, which is January 5th. So I'm quite excited because it feels like, yeah, graduation will be the week of my birthday. So I get to doubly celebrate. Number 3 is Sarah Verba Tarot. And I would like for you to also go and um, check her out regarding the latest installment on the Moon Magic, um, her Moon Magic series, but this one specifically for the Moon in Pisces. The next one is Queen Cup Tarot, as well as her latest installment regarding the Moon Magic in Pisces. And actually, Queen Cup did her session live. So it's quite a bit of energy going on. And remember, we are getting a better understanding of the influx and the influences of the energy of the moon, especially when it's engaged with Neptune. And so, yeah, Queen Cup did her thing. Very feisty energy, and she just she tenderly, transparently allowed the energy to have its way with her, and she still was able to read them cards. And trust me when I say those moments when I knew she was speaking directly to me, her tone and her pitch was exactly the way that it needed to be for me to get it. She was even honest enough in certain moments of that time space to say when they were actually and directly speaking to her. Now that's something you don't get with all of the tarot teachers. All of it is treasure troved, but when you can have a reader that's in the mix of it, and then their messages show up, and they be that transparent to say that. So that was such a connectivity for me. So number 5, the House of Oshun Tarot. And I know if you've listened to any of my videos, you may have heard that at least once or twice. That's the one who's hilarious. When I say hilarious, between House of Oshun and Queen Cup Tarot. Number 6, even Water Baby Tarot. Yeah. As well as I would like to direct your attention, if you would, to her, um, her live that she just dropped, I think at the beginning of this energy regarding the Moon Magic in Pisces, as well as Rambling Mike Tarot. I think it's Rambling Mike's Tarot. And especially the segment regarding the Star Tarot briefing, where he goes and he gives a briefing about the Star Tarot deck. If you are unfamiliar with tarot, but you would like to learn a little bit more, especially very basic introduction, the orientation, where it's simple enough for you to catch some keywords, take some notes, and use it as a wonderful seed to cultivate your knowledge. And so those are my 7. And it has taken me a while to come up with the 7. I had more. At first, I had 12. But the notion to streamline it to 7 kept coming up. So that's what I did. And so now, these are the 7 that I check in with enough to truly understand the complexities of my sun, moon, and ascending. And I don't rock with no one else. Like, that's the crew. Our Shiro's or Hero's journey, aka our food's journey, which is one of the reasons why I just rolled down my 7 tarot treasure trove teachers, is because if we would put side by side where we are right now, how it is adjacent to the elements of the traditional hero's journey schematic, with the understanding of the fool's journey, I think something very special can be revealed to you about navigation. Because one thing I know for certain, Siri or Alexa or whoever else is out there can't give you these kind of answers. And you truly are responsible for your own blueprints and your own intra-personal maps. So I'm going to roll out real quick the 12 elemental steps of the traditional hero's journey, with the 13th step being the bonus, which turns it into the Coach Mad Hatter's Shiro hero's journey. And they are as follows. Step number 1, home base, one's ordinary realm. Step number 2, the call. Step number 3, refusing the call. Step number 4, meet up with mentors. Step number 5, crossing the threshold. Step number 6, tests, allies, and enemies. It's where you will meet your initial tests, where you will identify allies and enemies. Step number 7, innermost cave. Step number 8, the ordeal. Step number 9, reward, seizing the moment, and sharpening the sword, aka the pen. Step number 10, the road back. Step 11, resurrect. Step 12, return with life's elixir. And I put in parentheses of love. Step 13, the bonus. Extend special invitations to swap notes, share stories, create, and heal history, aka our story. I got the notion a few days ago to link the steps of this journey with the 12 zodiacs, and the the view the view of, after I did that, a flood of all sorts of insight, to the point where I became overwhelmed. I'm not sure how long it's going to take before I actually speak about and reveal details of that moment, but needless to say, it was a phenomenal encounter. Phenomenal. And ever since then, not a day goes by when something does not peek in and say something to me about how I can begin to interpret and share that experience. So I know that it's coming. just not sure when. So inside the story of The Wiz, when Dorothy meets Miss Wan and the Munchkins. And so right before they all disappear after they did their song and their dance and they thanked her kindly for breaking the curse and getting them out of the wall, Miss Wan says to Dorothy, count your blessings, cut your losses, and follow the yellow brick road. The Coach Mad Hatters will yell from the rooftops the same thing, except for we will change one word. So it's count your blessings, cut your losses, and follow your yellow brick road. Your fool's journey, your Shiro hero's journey is your yellow brick road. Tapping into the moon magic of Pisces or any other planet that the moon decides to come visit, and uh, what magic ensues as a result of it can be used to help you navigate, identify, light up your yellow brick road. One of these things is your life path calculation. And it dropped into my um, consciousness this morning when as soon as I woke up that I always say that my life path number is 7, but I've never mentioned how to calculate one's life path. Now, what I will say is those that have been hanging with me know that a simple search, like I'm hoping that your curiosity, your fascination, uh, hopefully your fascination with anything that I may be sharing with you will provoke you into a certain quality of curiosity that will have you go look some of this stuff up, jot it down, become one with it. Take some now, save some for later. So the calculations of one's life path is through the simplifying of its full birthday. My birthday is January 5th. So by adding up 151972, which comes to 25, then you simplify that to 7, that's how I get my life path number. If I know your full birthday, 9 times out of 10, if I know your full birthday and you're part of my inner circle, I'm interested in your well being, more than likely I've already calculated your life path number. Now, whether I've told it to you or not all depends on our conversations and if you have indicated to me that you're interested in such data. Now, if you're not the type that's interested in such data, I won't say nothing to you. But by me knowing this particular knowledge, it gives me all sorts of ahas with how you do shit, why you do shit. It also renders me quite a bit of patience and love and understanding, even respect and adornment. And I may like hint to you that you are a genius, or I might hint to you that you are marvelous, or I might hint to you that you talk too fucking much. Like, it all depends. It all depends. I may hint to you that you need to go further, sharpen your sword, or you need to go and really, become serious about mastering this, or you need to forget about doubting yourself in this kind of way. And trust me when I say, I've said all these things to myself as well. And I know I am human just like everyone else. It takes a couple times to hear it. It takes a couple of times in order for it to become, in order for it to be absorbed as truth. And so 1 through 9. the life path archetypes. And let me think, because I have decided to use these specific archetypes because they are not universal. So right at this, hang on just a second. I'm looking up this so that I can tell you what site this is on for where I get the names that I'm flowing with in conjunction with the life path archetypal characteristics. Let me see here. Um, while I'm looking for this, you can use this time to either go get yourself a tasty beverage. I don't think it's going to take that long, but still, when I get to looking up stuff, I'll just say that it is a good moment to pause it, and because Coach TC can get a bit long-winded when she gets to talking about stuff that she truly is in love with. Okay, so astrostyle.com. Under their, let's see, under their Learn tab, if you scroll, and they are twins. They are twins. One day I'll tell you about my my passion for twinology, especially, and they call themselves the Astro Twins. They're so adorable. Okay, so if you scroll all the way down, which is some really good content listed here. So if ever you want to uh, educate yourself, by all means. So the very last one is numerology, your life path number. And so you click on that and you scroll down and you will see all of the archetypes. So life path number 1 is the leader. Life path number 2 is the mediator. Life path number 3 is the communicator. Life path number 4 is the teacher. Life path number 5 is the freedom seeker. Life path number 6 is the nurturer. Life path number 7 is the seeker, just the regular seeker, the all-around seeker, the vagabond seeker. Life path number 8. Life path number 8 is the powerhouse, and life path number 9 is the humanitarian. Now there are other life path numbers, but they are called master numbers, which means if you add up your birthday, and like mine came to 25 and I simplified it to 7, where my 25 is, if yours is 11, 22, 33, 44, 55, those are considered master numbers. And um, there's a times 2, like in the Uno card with the draw 2, like the plus 2, like there's a times 2 to whatever it is once you add it. So like life path number 11, you add those 2 up, you get 2. So it's the mediator, but it's like the mediator times 2. It's like the superhuman mediator. 2 and 2 is 4. So life path number 4 is the teacher, but it's the teacher turbo. And they have all of this on their page, as well as the explanations about the master numbers for 11, 22, and 33. Diving into this type of information, this type of knowledge about self, and allowing it to serve as the navigator, transmute into something that I like to call astro alchemical wisdom. It's not your ordinary kind of wisdom. For one thing, it's highly exclusive, unique, and contoured to only you. And I often imagine dinner parties with those that understand and fluently speak this kind of language. One of my most intricate dreams is to utilize at one day utilize my home for supper parties, for situations just like this, where we can mingle amongst those that are emotionally invested in their astro alchemical wisdom, where we can dive into that step 13, where we've returned with life's love elixir and we are willing to share and swap notes and create and beautifully blend. So, astro alchemical wisdom is the bridge between the living and the transcendent, aka what what once was has connectivity to reflective and creative roots. Access is invisible, which is beyond the naked eyes. They call upon their ancestors. They know that they travel with invisible guides and muses, and they utilize them wisely. They take the time to sharpen their swords, aka their pencils, their pens. They travel with notebook because everything is content. Everything could possibly be a clue or a cue. These are the folks that also understand the wisdom within the cycle of seven. And not just because I love it, but the number of the day is seven. So, so there is truly a entire science around cycles of seven. One of the best commentary that I've run into is from author Tony Crisp, and he has a site that is called dreamhawk.com, DreamHawk.com. And I took a few notes from his site earlier today that I'm going to share with you. That'll give you some insights, and then I'm going to break down my particular the particular 7-year cycle that I'm in right now. And by going on his site, and I'm not exactly sure. I think when you first enter into dreamhawk.com, I'm not sure right now, but I don't think it takes you directly to um, the commentary about the 7 cycles. But if you put in a simple search and say um, 7-year cycles, Tony Crisp, then it'll take you directly to the page on his site where it is located. We exist between enormous duality, sleep and waking, male and female, pain and pleasure, light and darkness, life and death, aka transcendence from flesh embodiment. I put that in parentheses. I put the aka, that's in parentheses. War and peace, negative and positive. And then I went on to extend the list to above and below, within and without, visible and hidden. And then lastly, I put laughter and laughter. Because, of course, we can laugh, all depending on who you are and how you move in this world. You can laugh when you're blissful and you can laugh when you're battered, all depending. And I always say, if somebody is laughing instead of crying, you better fucking pay attention. You better pay attention. So, also within the commentary, where Tony Crisp is talking about the cycles of seven, he made mention of this word, and it's still a relatively new word. Of course, you know it's going into my vocabulary journal, but it still takes me a moment to be able to pronounce it correctly. Let me see, and I think I saved it because I have to hear it a couple of times in order for me to. I didn't. Hold on. Let's see. Hang on a second. Okay, so let's see if we can get the correct pronunciation to this word. Let's see if you can hear it. Anthroposophy. Okay, so anthroposophy. Anthroposoph, which was crafted by Rudolf Steiner, the esotericist of the late 19th and 20th century. And when I began reading this morning, just learned this word this morning, tapping into its definition, I almost lost it because in yesterday's installment, we were talking about philosophies and we were talking about the philosophies with being raised or the philosophies after one has walked this road to redemption and now is crafting its own philosophies, or the combination of both. Yes? And so anthroposophy. Hold on, let's hear it again. Let's do it. Okay, let me see. Anthroposophy. Anthroposophy. I'm gonna have to say that a couple more times before I get it. Anthroposophy. Yeah, that word. It's born out of the philosophy of freedom. And so it is a human-oriented spiritual philosophy that reflects and speaks to the basic deep spiritual questions of humanity, to our basic artistic needs, to the need to relate to the world outside of the scientific attitude of mind, and to the need to develop a relation to the world in complete freedom and based on complementary individualism, complementary with an E, meaning complete, alongside the successive base outlooks, purviews, potentialities, and decisions. And that's all I've been talking about. My entire channel is around this word. I had no idea it existed. Anthroposophy. Yeah, that word. Completely. Like that word and its meaning is like the Rubicon of why I even like decide to get up here and talk and ramble and share like I do. I am always saying, yes, I give respect to the scientific world. I am in awe of STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. I am in awe. Any of the professionals that is within any of those components, they know me professionally. They know I give them accolades. I often tell them how in awe I am with them. Mainly because I'm free with my compliments, but also because I'm genuinely in awe. I'm a words person. Even though that is kind of left brainish, I still like really like I'm like in Shangri-La when I'm in the right side of my brain. And because the right side of the brain has always been treated like the stepchild when we're talking about our social conditionings and what like will bring me the money. Yeah, it's never the artistic realms. The art realms always get shitted on. Like they always get the shitty end of the stick. They don't get the creme de la creme. They don't get the cream off. They don't get the froth. They always got to fight for their funding when it seems like it is like the amongst the most important things. Like children have said, generation upon generation, math was hard until we added music to it. Shout out to Dr. Professor Chris Emden, because he has done the phenomenal. He has mixed rap with science. He's brought the rhythmist and the scientists together. They truly lay out scientific phenomena in raps. When I say anytime I am engaged with any of his work or any of his students, I be cheesing so hard that my cheeks start hurting. Like my smile be fixed, looking like a Cheshire cat. Like, wow, look at this here. But even with that said, there are they there is or there are artistic realms that can stand in their own right, that have just as much autonomy and sovereignty. Okay, I'm not gonna start preaching. With all of that said, the 7 year cycles, of course, are broken down in 7 years. Because I have a thing for the number seven. The number of the day is seven. I have a thing for 7 hours, a thing for 7 days, a thing for 7 months. I do. Tony Crisp has due diligently broken down each cycle, and he has so graciously highlighted them so when you click on them, and it's according to your biological human age, so ages from between the ages of 0 to 7. So I already said I'm not good with numbers, and it's like, well, Thea, you should be able to go beyond 7. Well, whatever, go on the site and you can click on it and you can see. So I am right now within the bracket of the ages of 42 to 49. And it just so happens that it's the 7 cycle of 7s. And I had, as many times as I have visited with this content, it never stuck in. It never latched on that I was within the 7th cycle of 7s. But when it hit this morning, I hollered. I was like, well, look at this. Now I will say I only have 2 more years in this cycle. 2014. No, I only have 1 more year in the cycle. No, 2 more years in the cycle. 2014 started my cycle. 2021 will end this cycle. So between the ages, if you are between the ages of 42 and 49, what I am about to read is specifically for you. This is for you. This is for us. This is for me. This is for we. It's a cycle of major changes, a time to lean in to all of one's experiences and begin to emotionally and intellectually digest what is no longer needed whilst extracting what is to infuse and enrich innovation and new direction. The unlived aspects of life tend to cry out to be recognized and allowed. The desire to make a mark in life, if it has not already been achieved, presses for action. The evidence of midlife is beginning to form, and the urge to act is upon an incline. And this is a quote of Tony Crisp. The old idea of marriage for life was partly built around the fact that many people did not live past 30. And I'll say real quickly, I don't too much anymore, but I used to yell from the rooftops about this thing called legal matrimony and the underlying premises around it or attached to it. That it is not what we think it is or what we commonly think it is. Like common sense. I've never been one for common sense. I always say my sense is not so common. I always say I have not so common sense. The way I view things, the way I perceive things has always been on the outer fringes and has always deemed me like a weirdo or like side-eyed looked at funny. Yeah, I'm used to it now. These days, the inner healing and spiritual needs of one's own maturity and individuality is being defined and explored, which means folks ain't quick to get hitched up anymore because it really is like a legal agreement. And I say I've been married one time and I'm not sure about it happening again, mainly because I don't need to legalize my matrimony. I don't need to legalize my love. I really don't. And I don't like the backlash of all that the legalities come with if we decided it ain't working anymore. Remember, folks come in and out of your life for a plethora, a multiplex of reasons and seasons and whatever the catchy phrase is. Those are only two words I can remember. And our acquaintances all have origination and expiration dates. We do not know. We don't know when we're going to meet them, and we don't know when we're going to like unmeet them. We just don't know these things. And we approach this thing called marriage as if we know for a fact we're going to be around or with this person like forever. And yes, some um, couples do. They do withstand the test of time. But as that being a majority rule type of sentiment, we all blindly step into this thing and then charge ourselves as failures when it don't work without even checking birth charts or even swapping notes about dreams or individuality or respect of growth, respect of 7 cycles. We always talk about prenups. How about we get in the habit of doing a map of 7 cycles? Okay, I digress. Inside this timeline, we are provoked to step outside old stereotypical roles with a newfound freedom and a sense of self. Hang on. Outside old stereotypical roles with a newfound freedom, a sense of self confidence, and individuality. We are better prepared to emotionally invest in our own personal powers and pleasure principles rather than society's social trendy conditions, and gain a real understanding of our uniqueness accompanied by a sense of urgency to express our true self before it gets too late. And I know everybody, is not on this road to self actualization. Some folks are cool with settling with, the mantra, if it ain't broke, don't fix it type of thing. Or don't shake the, I don't remember. Don't kick the dog. I don't know. But I don't think you should kick the dog. But I'm just saying, the whole let sleeping dogs lie type of stuff, which is a lie. I don't know. Okay, I digress again. I am inside of this cycle, and I'm really now tapped into the fundamentals of this newfound philosophy. Anthroposophy. Yeah, that one. I'm inside of it. And even within the last 4 hours, I have like serious fortitude with my esteem around being able to associate with how I really truly feel when it comes to the birthing and the momentum, the growing, the cultivation of the Coach Mad Hatter's Underland University and radio platform. Why I am on the path to stand as the ambassador, stand as the bridge maker, so that folks can safely cross into golden enlightenment coming from their lead based situation. Because I do believe that we are meant to be in acquaintance with those whom we are in acquaintance with, good, bad, or indifferent. And it could just be the hidden meaning. Like it could just be our honest to uncover these hidden meanings. In the last installment, the immaculate inquiry was, what if? What if all of the things that happen, your trials and your tribulations, and your errors and your mistakes, were all for your greater good? So I'll take you back to the theme of this installment. I go to seek a greater perhaps. Perhaps all that has happened was truly divinely timed and meant to be. Even those who have come into your life, whether you had to oust their ass out on bad circumstances, they arrived for something. You mixed and mingled for a hidden meaning if it hasn't already revealed itself to you. At the moment you become curious about the fascinating part of your mixing and mingling, I'm sure the reasonings will begin to appear. I'm sure you will get the green light to begin collecting cues and clues as to why. Because I don't speak in terms of haphazard, willy nilly type of outlandish, don't know why shit is happening. I'm an advocate for serendipity, for Pete's sake, like serendipitous serenity. There is answers to the riddles that the Sphinx will pose to us. We are able to lift up our own swords from out of the stone. So I'll close with this. The reminder that your vocabulary journal awaits you, as well as your serendipity log awaits you, as well as your, as well as your Shiro's journey journal awaits you, your Fool's journal journey awaits you, your Moon Magic journal awaits you. And I'm not saying anything to you that I have not already established. Anyone who knows me, and I'm talking about personally knows me, where you can come and walk into my room right now, you know that I have a multiplex of journals. My mind is spilling out stuff all the time. Sometimes it gets overwhelming, not sure if I'm going to be able to capture it all. What will I do with it? I have no idea. I just go with the flow. My mind say get up and record, I get up and record. And that's just been happening here lately. Out totally outside of my comfort zone doing this. But it did come into my mindset that at some point I'm going to have to do something with all of this that I'm learning. I'm going to have to begin to generate income. It is going to have to serve for something. Let alone the fact that I am at my step 13, which I will say that I've started to send out special invitations, handwritten note cards and special invitations. And I'm going to make this probably my only gesturing complaint that I've heard back from no one. So if I've sent you a note card and you have somehow found your way into this space and what I say to you resonates, I would like to hear from you. I would at least like a call back to say, hey, Coach TC, I got your note. And let's have a conversation. For Pete's sake, let's do a pop up. We're going to get this Sea Goat Squad started. There's all types of bartering with regards to swapping notes and educational exchange and complimentary scholarship to be had. We are in the midst of accumulating our astro alchemical wisdom. While we're on these journeys, especially the 90-day journey into heart fullness. So, with that said, if you are one of the ones that you have found yourself completing your road to redemption and you are inside the philosophies of anthroposophy, yeah, that I am so thrilled to not be alone. I am so thrilled for the spiritual connectivity. When you begin to speak to your invisible guides, put a word in for me. Because I trust you. I am not the person that I was 7 years ago. Shit, I'm not even the person I was 7 hours ago. I learned a new word. I have new definition to my soul. And I really hope that you will adopt the newness in increments of 7. Go get your journals, get your notebooks, start to move into them. Sharpen your sword. Seize the moment, sharpen your sword. And if you have any questions with regards to the calculation of your life path number or the commentary surround the Rubicon surrounding your life path number, or you're interested in hosting a pop-up, or you want to unpack a little bit more about anything that I have spoken about in this installment or this entire series, The Journey to Healthfulness, or the comfy the comfy sofa conversation series, any of it, holler at me. Take some time and let's converse. And in the meantime, I wish you well.